get started to see which one can be the most retarded. Tinfoil haters, it's time to start the show. Tinfoil haters, it's time to start the show. Tinfoil haters, don't tell them what to say. Tinfoil haters are here to save the day. To get started to see which one can be the most retarded. Tinfoil haters, it's time to start the show. Tinfoil haters, it's time to start the show.
Welcome back to another episode of Tinfoil Haters. How are all you vital idols doing? We've got a proper episode for you for once. None of the ghost and demon reactions, as much as I love doing those. Nah, we went hard on the research, so much so that we had to break it up into two different sects. S-E-C-T-S. I want to make sure y'all ain't clipping me out of context here. With Sammy handling the lore, the mythology, the oh so esoteric, and your boy breaking down the science, the facts, and Cindy just being along for the ride to learn stuff as we go. Speaking of a partner in crime, Sammy 3P, tell the people who you are, what you do, the whole nine.
I'm Sammy 3P. I'm a Detroit-based musician, but every Tuesday I am a tinfoil hater. And boy, oh boy, do we have a lot in store for you today. This is I was unaware of this until I don't know 5 hours ago.
Yeah, this is one that like I was aware of. Well, sort of. So I was aware of the science behind it and whatnot. And I think this is something that I actually do believe in. This isn't really going to be one of those episodes where we can quote unquote prove or disprove it, but I do think that we're going to make a lot of compelling evidence for it being absolutely real, or at least very possible. And I'm very excited for this one. So diving into the lore and the mythology was definitely new, and I'm sure you're going to teach me some things about that. But I want to go into hard.
It ties into a ton of stuff that we've already covered.
Yeah, exactly. Before we get to my Cinny down there, you have Flamingo to 5-banger. Why do you have to go hurt Hypno's feelings? He just wants you to play games with him. Because I am actually all right. I'm trying to cover it up, but I'll just let it now. I'm sick as fuck. I'm incredibly nauseous. I'm all lightheaded. If you hear me misspeak a bunch, that's why. I'm not feeling well. But yeah, so this is a fake it till you make it stream. But you know what? Your boy still put in the work, hours upon hours of research, and then I passed the hell out for like 2 hours, and woke up 20 minutes like, oh my god, I've got a show I've got to do. Because I was not going to cancel, not after all the work that we put into this. Shout out, thank you for the 2-banger, this 5-banger. This is for you.
I'd fuck one of the robot dogs.
Tell people who you are and what you do.
Hey guys, I'm Cindy. I like to talk about anime, gaming, and on the occasion, a little bit of horror. I can tell you're sick. I can hear it. So definitely you need to go to bed after the stream. Don't feel bad.
Well, I'm certainly, again, I don't want to say fake the optimism. I actually am happy to be here and talk about this, but I can tell I will be energy drained by the time the show is over. All right, who we got out in this bitch? We got Pixel 2001 is here. Johnny Boy, Amanda, how you doing? Junebug Nate Cry says it's my birthday today. Happy birthday to you,
Happy
Junebug.
birthday.
Jack SG22, Cindy, of course, be talking to you guys in chat. Soul Assassin is here. How you doing? Joda says late. Yes, we were a minute late. I didn't even realize what time it was. Cindy had to tell me. He's like, hey, you're gonna start the fucking show. We got Daxnar, our best mod in the whole damn land. Shout out Daxnar. Over on Kick, it is already popping off. Lithium is here. Devil and Red, how you doing, my man? Clip 420, Cindy being the greatest mod ever, is also over on the Kick side of things. Appreciate you. Lithium Eterna is here. Shout out. Dallo Greenskin is back. Jake motherfucking Martin. You'll love to see it. Who else we got? Stream Elements Bot is still doing its job for the little bit of time it'll be around. Dizzy Lizzie, the Tartarian Empire claim is absurd. Everyone knows the Turks are not capable of building civilizations, only ruining them. I see. I care about more the Tartarian sauce claim and the turmerics. I appreciate you. Scary Guy is over on Kick. What is up? Michael Vargas, shout out. A wild Iraqi. I like that. A wild Iraqi. That's insane.
I like
That's insane.
He's part of the Sky Bros.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess I should have figured that out from the where'd it go? From the profile picture there. Well, shout out a wild Iraqi. If you're here because you saw my Skybrows reaction earlier, thank you and I appreciate that. Dylan B is here. Shout out. Death on a Trike, my man with a plan. How you doing? The pulling guard. We talking chat structure / Atlantis? Sort of. We're gonna get into what we're covering here after we say hello to Lord Dragneel Stupenzo. I'm him drinking. I don't know. Watch that video of him. Wait, the video of him drinking urine and that. I don't even know what you're talking about. I'm sure you're trying to make a joke there, but I have no idea what you're referring to.
What?
Jake coming in with a 50 banger, says for being a trooper. Dude, you didn't need to. Thank you so much. Absolute legendary. I'm going to give you a couple of clips. It's going to be a 50 banger. That's a pretty advanced level shit. Let's start off, of course, with some Japanese. Subuida, man.
I'm Peter Parker.
Who the hell are you?
And then on top of it, just because I haven't played this one in a very long time, and you coming out here dropping 50 bangers, you're practically the new ABF for the stream. So this is also for you.
Who is this guy?
He is much more impressive than the hedgehog I fought previously.
Dude, I'm standing right here.
You'll love to see it. And then Trauma Tuna, member for a month. Says, oh, I forgot about this. I seem to keep doing that. I don't know if you meant the membership chat or you forgot about the show. But either way, I appreciate it. Thank you very much, homie. Subhuman is here. Keck Angel, avoid stratification. Don't go near AI data camps. Will do or won't do, whichever. Trauma Tuna for a 5 banger. I wish Leon could foil my tins. I like the way that sounds, and I don't think I should, but thank you for the 5 banger, homie. This is for you.
Y'all can clip me all you want. I think Alyssa Mercante has a nice ass, but I guarantee you she doesn't shave her armpits. So I'm good.
Drake Yeager, how you doing? Appreciate you. The Aztec Water donating $1. Thank you so much, Aztec. Drunken Ferret over on the Kick side, and with that, it is time to start the show. Sammy 3 Feet, why don't you let the audience know? Because I didn't put the name in the title because A, I wanted to be a surprise, and B, because I'm a professional YouTuber and I don't think the name would be very searchable and SEO friendly. So why don't you tell people what we're talking about today? And when I say people, I mean including Cindy. Cindy, feel free to ask questions at any point.
It's because I'm a woman, isn't it?
Yeah.
And because we like it. You know what? Yeah, we'll leave it at that. Go for it, Sammy.
Today, we will travel to the lost continent of Mu.
Mew. It's pronounced Mew, by the way.
Oh, Mu?
Yeah, Mew. But go on. We've only talked about this via text, so it makes sense if you hadn't heard the pronunciation. We've only talked through text about it. But yeah,
Okay,
lost
Mew.
continent of Mew.
Well, now that you took all the fucking steam out of
No,
my
no, no,
stride. But
start
yes, the
over,
lost
start over,
continent
start
of
over.
Mu. It is basically it's a giant continent that either sank or kind of self-deleted overnight. There's a lot of overlapping legends that seem to go here, and it is a concept that I wanted to say started in the early 1900s, and although there's been a bunch of it that's been disproven, it hasn't ever been completely debunked, and a lot of the concepts that I believe the guy's name was Le Pogno.
I knew it was something French. I don't remember what it was, but yes, it was definitely something French like that.
It's Le Pogno. He like I said, they're still around to this day, including things like ancient astronaut theory, There's there's a lot of things, cultural similarities all over the world. They believe generated from the continent of Mu, and I'm sure we'll get into it more. But yes, it was basically, if you could understand, it's in the Pacific Ocean, and it was supposed to be bigger than South America, and all of now one of the things that we were able to disprove, but you would believe, because it was supposed to be a giant continent with like 7 major cities, which may or may not have been inhabited by alien or angel human hybrids,
Nephilim.
and all the islands that we have that are still in the Pacific are basically like the top of mountain ranges that were on the top of this immense continent. We now know that not to be so, because we can tell that a lot of these were either Hawaii is a volcanic island structure. There's plenty of these things that we know, but we can't disprove that there was a giant continent that might have just blown itself up overnight. That is something for real that we cannot disprove. So
Yep, that's pretty much the gist of it. The lost. I mean, we're talking about an entire lost continent here, and mind you, this isn't out of the realm of possibility, like you're saying, due to the fact that everyone's heard of Pangea, the supercontinent that broke up and gave.
Yes.
Now, that what a lot of people don't realize, Pangea was not the original. There were several supercontinents pre-Pangea. Pangea is just the earliest one that we can track to breaking up and forming what we think of as all the modern continents. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing that for now. I saw someone gave a follow over on Kick. Thank you. I appreciate it. Cindy, you got any thoughts so far? Because Sammy's about to break down some lore for us.
No, I just find it interesting that an entire continent can go missing, but we still haven't seen, like, I think even like 80% of what's in the ocean. We haven't even seen like 10%.
We know more about space than we do our own ocean.
Yeah, so
This is
I
true.
could see how it's possible.
Hey, shout out Dax Narver donating 200 joules. Gifted flow state. I don't know what. It just says the flow state. Nice. You love to see it. Alrighty. Pull and guard. It was you that subbed over on Kick. Thank you very much. Alrighty, Sammy. If you want to share some screens, feel free. If not, if you just want to talk about it, but yeah, break it down for us. What is the legend of Mu?
Mu is the name of a suggested lost continent whose concept and name were proposed by 19th century traveler and writer Augustus Le Pognon, who claimed that several ancient civilizations, such as those of Egypt, Mesoamerica, were created by refugees of Mu, which he located in the Atlantic Ocean. The concept was popular. I thought it was in the Pacific, but I might. There we go. This concept was popularized and expanded on by James Churchward, who asserted that Mu was actually located in the Pacific. The existence of Mu was already being disputed in Pongyong's time. Can I just call him Augustus? I'm just gonna call him.
Yeah. Let's call him Augustus. French people don't deserve names anyway.
Yeah. I don't know how to say it, and it's just distractingly longer than it has to be. Today, scientists dismiss the concept of Mu and are allegedly other lost continents, such as Lemura, as physically impossible, arguing that the continent can neither sink nor be destroyed in such a short
Now
period
let's
of
stop
time.
right there. Let's real quick. That's bullshit. Like this is the problem with big archaeologies. They want us to believe shit that we know is bullshit. Very obviously, continents can sink, can be destroyed. We have found, it would take a huge cataclysmic event, but those have happened before. So why are they pretend are they trying to sell us on the idea that millions upon millions ago, years ago, in the dinosaur times, the continents were exactly the fuck as they are now?
What about like Krakatoa and It was
Yeah.
like a volcanic explosion. There was like 4 islands. I think there's only 2 left because it
The
was
fact
so
that they're
big.
trying to claim like, oh, well, you can't just lose a continent. Bullshit. So,
Yeah, that's an
anyway.
odd thing to say. That's like saying, okay, well, continents can't move either. How
Yeah.
come good portions of California are starting to
Well,
go into the ocean?
Yeah.
It's funny you bring that
I
up.
was gonna say, you
Continental
tell that to
drift-
Brian Wilson.
Yeah, continental drift was that a Beach Boys reference?
Yes.
Well done. Well done. Anyway, continental drift was proposed back in like years upon years before it was actually, and it was dismissed. Like continental drift was dismissed by scientists for like 60 years or something like that, until finally the scientists had to be like, okay, fine, fuck it. Yes, the continents are drifting, is actually happening. They fought against that for like 60 years or more.
Also, that makes things like Pangea bullshit, because arguably that is a giant continent that got destroyed.
Correct. Exactly. And scientists acknowledged that Pangea was a thing. Like I said, we had prior supercontinents to that. Anyway, you can continue with your lore. I just wanted to point out how big archaeology really hates changing the history books. And the reason they hate changing the history books is because their grant money depends on the history books staying the same. But continue.
Churchward's vision of Mu described it as a tropical paradise with a mild climate, fertile soil. It was supposedly located in the Pacific Ocean, stretching from the coast of Asia to the Americas. This massive landmass included numerous islands that remain above sea level today, such as Hawaii, the Easter Islands, and Tahiti. The people of Mu were described as technologically and spiritually advanced. They built monumental structures, mastered agriculture, created written language, and Churchward claims that the remnants of this civilization could be found in ancient ruins scattered across the Pacific, and the legends of indigenous people.
Now let's stop right there real quick. Have we actually given the time frame, or does this, or was this what like when the civilizations of Mu would have existed, or
I'm bouncing through 3 different pages right now, and I'm just kind of giving like the gist intros of
okay,
everything.
that's totally fine. I just want to make sure that that people have the idea of like the reason this is so quote unquote disputed. Part of the reason is when this would have been. But yeah, continue. I just want to make sure.
So as a matter of fact, in order to do that, let me give you, even though I hate saying his name, Augustus Le Pognon ran into. I'm actually going to go to the Wikipedia on this. So he ran into a.
Real quick, I want to address this because I think he's a new viewer. Is the use of haters instead of hatters intentional? Yes, the show's called Tinfoil Haters because while we believe in conspiracies and while we want them to be true, we are haters of fake ones. And so the idea is debunk as much as possible. That way the ones that we think are true or could be true truly rise and elevate. So yes, we're the tinfoil haters because we're like Mulder. We want to believe. But thank you for the question if you're new, and I hope you stick around and enjoy the rest of the show.
It's a clever play on words.
That's why we're more likely to get killed other than regular conspiracy theorists, because
there's that too. It's also a safety precaution. Exactly. All right. Anyway, continue, Sammy.
Okay. Let's see. So I want to get to Churchwood. Okay. So this is you have to understand in late 1800s, early 1900s, Churchwood. Okay, so it is Churchwood. Churchwood claimed that more than 50 years ago, while he was a soldier in India, he befriended a high-ranking temple priest who showed him a set of ancient sunburnt clay tablets, supposedly in a long-lost Naga Maya language, which only 2 other people in India could read. Churchwood was convinced he convinced the priest to teach him the long-dead language and to decipher the tablets by promising to restore the tablets. Promising to store the tablets. So they were in bad shape. Churchwood was an expert on preserving ancient artifacts. The tablets were written in either Burma or the lost continent of Mu itself, according to the high priest. Having mastered the language himself, Churchwood found that they originated from the place where man first appeared, Mu. In 1931, the edition of his book states that all matter of science in his work was based on the translations of 2 sets of ancient tablets the clay tablets that he read in India, and a collection of over 2,500 stone tablets that he had been uncovered by William Niven in Mexico. So he's starting to give you like how he got this stuff. The tablet,
right, and so, since you broke there, here's a good place. Johnny Boy with a 5-banger. Let's all say it together now. 3, 2, 1.
We
are
not
suicidal.
Okay. The tablet
Thank you for the 5-banger, homie. Continue, Sammy.
The tablet begins with the creation of Earth, Mu, and the superior human civilization Nakal, which I'm gonna click on that too. But where'd you go? Oh no, go back.
No.
Uh-oh.
Sammy just lost his source. Oh no.
No. It's my mouse.
It's the government trying to shut us down again.
Yeah. Well, either way, by the 7 commands of the 7 superlative intellects of the 7-headed serpent of Narayana, this creation story dismisses the theory of evolution. Churchwood gave a vivid description of Mu as the home of advanced civilization. It was flourished between 50 and 12,000 years ago. It was dominated by a melanated black race.
Now let's stop right there, because that part's important. This civilization, if it existed, would have been from 50,000 all the way to 12,000 years ago. Now the reason the big archaeology don't like that is why. Do you care to venture a guess, Cindy?
I have no idea.
Sammy, what about you?
What was your question?
Do you know why archaeologists and big archaeology hate the idea that this civilization would have been from 50,000 to 12,000 years ago?
Well, I because 50,000 puts it like way ahead of when we think civilization actually started.
So does 12.
Yeah. But
so, go on.
Well, I'm just saying, what, like they think like the cradle of civilization was basically like what, 8,000 years ago?
Yeah, give or take, 6 to 10,000 years ago would have been Mesopotamia. So humans about 10,000 years ago, we know, scientists all acknowledge, hey, they existed, they were real, we had humans, but they were not building civilizations. They were not humans were still nomadic at that time. They were still chasing they were still chasing animals. They were still nomadic. They would do little like sparse pop-up tents and whatnot, but then they would just move on. The idea that civilization didn't truly start until about 6 to 8,000 years ago with ancient Sumer, with Sumeria, and then that got disproven with the discovery of, now just make sure I pronounce this correctly, Göbekli Tepe. Göbekli Tepe was a civilization that beat out Sumer by thousands of years, and the archaeologists really didn't like that. They tried to suppress that until multiple neighboring civilizations that also had the Tepe name, this would have been in Turkey, were discovered, to the point where the scientists just, they couldn't hide anymore, and they had to start pushing back the time at which human civilization actually started. When I say civilization, we're talking sewer systems, running water, industry, economy, government systems, shopping districts, housing, the whole nine. So Göbekli Tepe is so difficult to say. Really threw a monkey wrench in all this. Now, Göbekli Tepe doesn't really have anything to do with Mu, so far as I can tell, but it's just to illustrate that big archaeology does not like the idea of civilizations existing prior to ancient Sumer.
Well, then I see why they don't want to agree that this civilization or like this continent existed, because then it just throws everything that they have been saying out the window.
They do that with anything, though, and if anything that history has shown us, if the accommodations are correct, humans don't like to be nomadic. They like to set up shop, and when they set up shop long enough, they tend to innovate, and we end up getting similar things in every single culture. You start to get irrigation. You start to get,
farming,
farming, absolutely,
system,
some sort of monetary system, some sort of archaic government some form of something, and some form of religion, some form of temple. There's things that just happen all over. They think that pyramids were one of those things, although they pyramids are tied to this, but pyramids are tied to almost every ancient civilization conspiracy theory, because for some reason or another, you can argue it however you want, when people got together long enough, these are just things that they constructed, whether that they wanted to get closer to the sun or touch the sky, or they thought it was a giant antenna, or it's a giant weapon that was going to evade off asteroids. For some reason or another, when you get people together long enough in these ancient times, they just felt like fucking building these things. We have no rhyme or reason to why, and that's one of the things that we're trying to talk about today.
Was Göbekli Tepe farmlandable? It looks desolate. It would have been farmlandable about 12,000 years ago, when it existed, if not earlier than that, because of the changes to environment and whatnot. So, but yes, Göbekli Tepe was a full-blown civilization. Now, Göbekli Tepe itself is only one small part of a much larger civilization. That was most likely a place of worship, like a giant church or a giant gathering point for some sort of communal spiritual event. But the land surrounding it, yes, and it's still being excavated to this day. That whole area is. So anyway, so with all of that out of the way, continue, Sammy.
At the time of its demise, about 12,000 years ago, Mu had about 64 million inhabitants and 7 major cities and colonies on other continents. The 64 million inhabitants were separated as 10 tribes that followed one government and one religion. So
now imagine that one government, a one government structure for an entire continent, 50,000, ranging from 50,000 years ago to 12,000 years ago. That is a very long civilization.
It's 64,000 people to boot. That I would say that rivals a lot of the empires we see later on. So yeah, it definitely impressive. Churchwood claimed that the landmass of Mu was located in the Pacific Ocean. It stretched east to west from the Marianas to Easter Island, north and south from Hawaii to Mangaea. According to Churchwood, the continent was supposedly 5,000 miles from east to west and 3,000 miles from north to south, which is larger than South America. The continent was believed to be flat, with massive plains, vast rivers, rolling hills, large bays, and estuaries. He claimed that according to the creation myth that he read on the Indian tablets, Mu had been lifted above sea level by expansion of underground volcanic gases. Eventually, Mu was completely obliterated in almost a single night. After a series of earthquakes and volcanic explosions, the broken land fell into the great abyss of fire and was covered with 50 millions of square miles of water. Churchwood claimed that the reasoning for the continent's destruction in one night was because the main mineral on the island was granite and was honeycombed to create large, shallow chambers and cavities filled with highly explosive gases. Once the chambers were empty after the explosion, they collapsed onto themselves, causing the island to crumble and sink.
You want to so at this point, yeah, we're cooking with this. You want to get into some of the more weirdo, wacko, maybe historical things that were going on this island in terms of like the Anunnaki, them spreading out to other locations. Let's go ahead and get the people the lore on that.
Okay, hold on. Why don't you talk about some of the scientific stuff, and I'll track down.
All right. Let's talk about some of the scientific stuff real quick. So here's the dealio. We're going to talk a little bit about ancient civilizations in general, why they're entirely possible. We're going to talk about the Sphinx as well, because I'm sure you've all heard this. Water erosion at the base of the Sphinx shows, or what seems to be water erosion at the base of the Sphinx shows that it was around for well before ancient Egypt. We're talking, hey, the ancient Egyptians probably just moved in and changed up the face on the carving because this structure is very old. And now, why does the water erosion thing matter? Because you got what's known as the Younger Dryas, and we're going to source NASA. Now, I don't like NASA, but we're going to source NASA. The Younger Dryas is known as the best example of an abrupt climatic event recorded on land, in the oceans, and in ice cores. It was a cold event that occurred between 11,000 and 12,000 years ago, approximately 12,800 and 11,600 calendar years ago, and it lasted about 1,200 years. About 15,000 years ago, as northern European ice sheets retreating and trees were beginning to move forward, replacing tundra, several brief returns to cold conditions suddenly took place. The most pronounced of these events, which would be correlated to a place from place in Europe, was called the Younger Dryas. The name Younger was used because it was the last of 3 rapid cold events, while earlier were called the Oldest Dryas and the Older Dryas. The name Dryas was used because the layer contained fossil leaves, the Dryas octopetala plant, a member of the rose family that colonizes in Arctic alpine regions. Now, here's the dealio. When this cold season ended, it likely was not due to some sort of just natural Earth cycle. The water erosion that we see around the Sphinx, around and combined with all the great flood myths of the world, mind you, are all at the same time, would have been due to some catastrophic event, like, let's say, an asteroid impact. Asteroid comes, impacts, you have insane heating, you get insane warming before everything gets cold and whatnot. It causes all these ice sheets to melt, water rushes, it floods. You have what looks like thousands of years of erosion happening in literal just days, effectively. This is not impossible whatsoever. In fact, it's taken many years, but a lot of scientists are finally starting to admit that yes, the Younger Dryas floods did happen. There's a reason that when you look at the whether it be Japan or China or Egypt, even the Native Americans, all the biblical nations of Europe, the flood myth is nearly always identical. I mean, and the Mayans as well. Over, I think it's 44 plus cultures all have what is effectively the exact same flood myth, and they all take place what would have been roughly right at the end of the Younger Dryas. So,
Krovax actually asked a good question that I wonder if it ties into that. Go ahead.
Shouldn't a landmass of that size have thrown off sea levels by a lot? Well, when you say thrown off sea levels, I'm confused as to what you mean. Can you phrase that a little bit differently? Because I'm not. When you say it's sinking, everything would have rose and whatnot, because that's effectively what they say happened. So, well, yeah. So, what do you mean? I hope not, man. Prehistoric melanated people need a win.
Because he goes, he didn't understand how they kept the civilization to its 64K people. I said maybe regular human sacrifices to keep your population under control.
Or they weren't or there was the Anunnaki and the alien overlords and the Nephilim kept the breeding in check. Have you got the source up on that, Sammy?
I'm trying. Where is it?
Ocean levels would have been far greater inland than what would have been recorded.
Oh, okay, here we go.
That I'm not sure about. I don't know the science on that. That wasn't something that actually did come up in all the research I was doing. But we will get to ocean structures and things that have been buried at sea that could connect. So, but yes, that's a good question that I unfortunately just don't have the answer to.
You'll never believe where I found a lot of these theories.
Graham Hancock's website. I don't know.
CIA?
On a One Piece Reddit page.
What?
What?
Like the anime?
Long theory post. The ancient civilization of the Mew left behind more than ruins.
All right, let's do it.
What is the One Piece?
That's awesome. All right, let's go.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm diving into One Piece theories with this post being focused on the nature of the One Piece itself. I know this theory has probably already been suggested, but I wanted to gather all the key elements here to discuss them precisely. Of course, it's just a theory open to debate, but not to get too nitpicky about inconsistencies, and let's move forward with it. What we already know, the myth of the lost civilization united with the gods. We know for sure that the key to understand the lore of the antique civilization lies with cross referencing antediluvians mythologies such as Mu, Atlantis, Anunnaki, in the Book of Enoch. Among the sources, we have the lost continent of Mu. What we know is the story of James Churchwood, the guy pretended to find the story of Mu, the Nekal tablets. In his writings, we already learned about the Nekal language. So when you cross-reference these stories in the world of One Piece, the parallels make no room for doubts. But I'll skip. So he's basically saying that all of the what do you call it? The hippogriffs are written in the Nakal language.
Well, you mean ponyglyphs, but yes.
Oh, ponyglyphs.
I thought it was called a
Ponyglyphs is Harry
poneglyph.
Potter, the ponyglyphs.
It's you know what? I was listening to a bunch of Harry Potter lore today too. So
Wasn't it called a poneglyph, not ponyglyph?
I've always read it ponyglyph. Maybe
yeah, I
I
always call them ponyglyphs myself. Hippogriffs. It would have worked. Let's see. When you cross-reference these stories in the world of One Piece, the parallels make no room for doubts, but I'll skip some of the obvious connections, jump straight into the core of the theory. Just to recall how Oda draws from multiple sources that all converge on the same myth, here's the basic story found in many ancient traditions that bends beings from divine nature who ascend to earth to reproduce, with humans creating hybrid lineage of god humans. The story goes the descendants inherit both human nature and divine power, occult knowledge, strength, longevity. The gods also grant them a powerful object to remind them of their divine origins. With these forbidden technologies, the hybrid race quickly builds extraordinary advanced civilization, mastering the elements, building cities, accessing hidden knowledge, but their power eventually corrupts them. They become arrogant, violent, tyrannical, and they dominate the rest of humanity. Their civilization breaks divine and natural laws and disrupts the balance of the world. In response, the flood, a global cataclysm, is sent to wipe them out. Only a few survivors or fragments of memory, tablets, murals, sacred relics escape the oblivion. So it was like, it's not a bad theory. They definitely have stuff like that, but I'm trying to.
So I want to go ahead, by the way. So yeah, this theory actually leads into something that's worth talking about, which is the idea that, let's say you have this mass cataclysm event that wipes out Mu, right? Well, the theory, goes that the survivors of Mu, little as they would be, spread to other parts of the world, and that even though their technologically advanced civilization was gone. By the way, when we say technologically advanced, we don't know how advanced they were. We're not talking like flying cars and shit. Maybe, who knows? We're not. But the point is, they were more advanced than the primitive people that were the primitive humans that existed pre-Egypt, pre-Sumer, pre-ancient China, things like that. So the idea is that the people of Mu, the survivors, scattered across the world and shared their knowledge so that it didn't get lost. Their knowledge of how to build civilization, how to farm, how to build aqueducts, all this sort of thing. And the idea that there would be survivors after a mass cataclysm event is not out of the question, because we've got the Toba catastrophe theory. This is a real thing. The super volcano eruption of Lake Toba in Indonesia was a mass cataclysm event that happened during the time of just regular Homo sapiens. It left only roughly 3,000 to 10,000 humans alive afterwards across the entire planet. Humans almost went extinct a few thousand years ago with the Toba volcano. Like, we barely survived that shit and had to build back up. So the idea that you would have a handful of survivors of Mu also is not out of the question.
No, and it's not just Mu. Like, they have similar theories about this with like Atlantis and everything, where there was the 12 on board. You know, they had the magician, the scientists. You know, they sent out their most important archetypes to go. Like there's plenty of stories like this. It isn't always these land masses per se, but there's plenty of legends in a bunch of different cultures where there was a much more advanced civilization, and these are just remnants of it. And
well, let's talk about one that's not a legend. Let's talk about a real one. So for years in India, there was the legend of the ancient city of Dwarka that was drowned by, that was a technologically advanced civilization that was drowned by the gods, or for whatever reason. I'm not Indian, so I don't know the fucking all the lore. But the point is, there was an ancient advanced civilization in India, the civilization of Dwarka, and that it was flooded, right? For years upon years, that was, I mean, we're talking decades, if not hundreds of years, that was looked at as just, oh, this is just Indian myth, right? Lo and behold, in the 80s, we discovered it.
Really?
Yes. Let me share my screen right here. Dwarka, underwater archaeology. Beginning of the underwater archaeology of India can be traced back to 1981. Offshore explorations in the country generated a lot of popularity to this discipline. Thereafter, establishment of the underwater archaeology wing in the Archaeological Survey of India in 2001 marked a major step towards the development of the subject. Since its inception, the UAW has engaged in conducting underwater archaeological studies in the Arabian Sea, Bay of Bengal, and then we can go on. You can pull up, here's the field work, all the different explorations they've done. Needless to say, we literally discovered a lost underwater civilization from a prevailing myth, the Indian mythical city of Dwarka. It turned out to be real. So it's not as if this has never fucking happened before.
Mm-hmm.
Well, didn't they say they also found the lost city of Atlantis in the Sahara?
That's not confirmed, but that's possible. That might be something interesting to cover on a different episode. But yeah, in the Sahara, you've got this. So Atlantis was always described as a large city full of concentric rings that had water pathways going through it. And they did find a structure, a massive structure that fits exactly that in the Sahara, which would make sense because back when Atlantis would have been around, we're talking again pre-Younger Dryas, it obviously wouldn't have been a desert. But that's still hotly contested, and I don't know enough about it to say more without actually doing full research to make that an episode. But yes, you are correct. That is absolutely a theory. So, point is, we have found underwater civilizations that were the things of myth before. So the idea that this is impossible is, we know for sure. Bright Insight has a good video on the cool. I appreciate that. I will have to look into that. Did you already talk about Edgar Casey and Bimini Road? No, but we're getting there. Y'all jumping the gun on me. I'm glad you all know this story. So yeah, let's jump back over to this. By the way, go back. Göbekli Tepe, the world's first temple. Predating Stonehenge by 6,000 years, Turkey's stunning Göbekli Tepe upends the conventional view of a rise of civilization. 6 miles from Urfa, an ancient city of southeastern Turkey, Klaus Schmidt has made one of the most startling archaeological discoveries of our time. Massive carved stones, about 11,000 years old, crafted and arranged by prehistoric people that would have not developed yet the tools or even pottery. The megaliths predate Stonehenge by roughly 6,000 years. The place called Göbekli Tepe, and Schmidt, a German archaeologist who's been working here for more than a decade, is convinced of the site of the world's oldest temple, at least the oldest one that is still standing. Guten Morgen, he says at 5:20 a.m. with his van picks me up at my hotel in Urfa. 30 minutes later, the van reaches the foot of a grassy hill and parks next to stands of barbed wire. We follow a knot of workmen up the hill to rectangular pits shaped by corrugated steel roof. The main excavation site. In the pits, standing stones or pillars are arranged in circles. Beyond the hillside are 4 other rings of partially excavated pillars. Each ring has roughly a similar layout. The center 2 large stone T-shaped pillars enriched by slightly smaller stones facing inward. The tallest pillars, however, 16 feet, and Schmidt says weigh between 7 and 10 tons. As we walk among them, I see that some are blank while others are elaborately carved. Foxes, lions, scorpions, and vultures abound, twisting and crawling the pillars' broad sides. So yeah, this is where it is. Now, mind you, there are multiple other civilizations. It's all part of the same civilization. Multiple other excavation sites with different names ending in Tepe in this general area. Göbekli Tepe was just the first one discovered, and it's the one that's the religious site, supposedly. Schmidt points to the Great Stone Rings, one of them 65 feet across. This is the first human-built holy place, he says. From this perch, 1,000 feet above the valley, we can see the horizon in nearly every direction. Schmidt asked me to imagine what the landscape would look like 11,000 years ago, before centuries of intensive farming and settlement turned it into the nearly featureless brown expanse today, to answer the question from earlier. Prehistoric people would have gazed upon the herds of gazelle and other wild animals gently flowing rivers, which attracted migrating geese and ducks, fruit and nut trees, rippling fields of wild barley and wild varieties such as emmer and einkorn. This area was like a paradise, said Schmidt. Indeed, Göbekli Tepe sits in the northern edge of the Fertile Crescent, an arc of mild climate and arable land from the Persian Gulf to present-day Lebanon, Israel, Jordan, and Egypt, and would have attracted hunter-gatherers from Africa to Levant. Partly because Schmidt found no evidence and partly because Schmidt found no evidence that people permanently resided at the summit of Göbekli Tepe itself. He believed this place was a place of worship and unprecedented scale. Now, here's the thing: that what makes this the earliest civilization, the Tepe area in general, he is correct. There was no sites of permanent living things, no houses, no living quarters, nothing. Those were discovered a few miles away at a different site, and it had all the same symbolism, all the same buildings. So it's like, oh, these are obviously from the same people. So yeah, Göbekli Tepe was a part of a larger civilization. I see a two-banger from Piplup. Sorry I'm late. Was watching Bluey with my niece. No worries. I appreciate you here. Thank you for the two-banger. Look at you being a good uncle. So needless to say, yeah, we're talking, I mean, these sorts of structures, 7 to 10 tons, or he said tons or 1,000 pounds. Either way, like humans 11,000 years ago supposedly did not have the tools and the tech to handle things like that. I mean, older than fucking Stonehenge. They don't even know how Stonehenge got built, right? And this, you're telling me this is 6,000 years before that? What do we do with this information? Clearly, something happened.
Well, and clearly we've been wrong for, hundreds of years, and that's okay. It's like you were saying with these, group of historians who just, I understand you might have gotten your doctorate on things that are incorrect. It was like, dude, we're in the pursuit of the truth. We're not in the pursuit of like, hey, you might have to read another textbook instead of writing another one. When you find information like this, you need to rethink what you've been teaching for the last couple decades. That doesn't mean that you're not good at your field or whatever. You have to go with the knowledge of what you currently have. When we find something like this and it shocks everything up, well, I hate to tell you this, you're going to have to reevaluate some shit. I cannot believe that the scientific community is so obtuse about this shit.
Well, yeah, I can. Oh, sorry, go for it, Cindy. Go for it.
No, that's the thing about science, though, is that it's never definitive. It's it's usually just the answer is always this until it's not.
Yes. There's never rules in science.
Real quick, nerd divergent. We actually mentioned Dwarka a little bit earlier. But anyway, go on, Sammy.
I'm just saying, it was like when you look at most science, there's not a lot of definitive rules. They're all theories. Well, for Christ's sake, gravity is a theory.
Here's the thing, though. How do you monetize this? Here's the reason. At the end of the day, this is all a money game. This is the real reason these archaeologists are so obtuse and so resistant to anything changing. They get their grant money from companies, from investors, from governments and whatnot, and they need to be right. If they're wrong, okay, why do we just give you all this money for you to turn out to be fucking wrong so they don't get additional funding afterwards? And then, all right, how do you monetize finding out that, oh, turns out humans may have actually existed for 6,000 more years than we originally thought? There's no, it is insane to me that there's that people out there aren't throwing money for the idea of, hey, maybe it's just cool to know history better. Learn our history, learn our story, learn where humans came from, and not just accept everything we have. Because here's another civilization thing. So we've got Sin Proposal Center for Research on Kumari Kandam, HC to Tennessee. Now, Kumari Kandam was an ancient myth of a sunken continent by the Tamil people of India. Back to Dwarka, we were talking about earlier. You've got this ancient tribe that talked about an entire continent that sank into the ocean that would have been in the exact same location as Mu. This tribe has been around, by the way, for over 2,000 years. So this lore would have been ancient to them. Who taught it to them, and how does it match up so perfectly?
Well, that's one of the things that they debunk, because you're seeing like big archaeology is trying to debunk these things where you're saying we're finding this on the Easter Islands in Hawaii, but we're also seeing traces of it in ancient Egypt and in Mesoamerica. And they're saying, well, look at these like universal like symbols, and they're saying, well, that's absurd because in Polynesian culture this symbol means one thing, and in this culture it means another thing. And it was like, that doesn't, okay, but that doesn't mean that it all didn't generate from the same place. I mean, even we all speak English for the most part as Americans. There's different dialects or the different accents when you go around America. Not everyone speaks English the exact same way. You know what I mean? So it's extremely close-minded to say, okay, well, this symbol exists in all of these cultures, and they were separated by decades and centuries and years of doing their own thing and setting up their own cultures. It would be insane to think that there would be no deviation from, but the fact is all of these symbols still exist within all of these cultures. And it's not to say, oh, well, this means wave or this means water. It was like, well, they're all kind of water related. That would be, you could easily come up with the hypothesis that it meant something in all of these cultures, and as they progress as cultures, they eventually evolved into something else. It's just like the same reason we call certain people a bundle of twigs. Like words evolve, words change meaning, especially when they get isolated and they're not used particularly the same way as they were originally were.
However, there are times when they are used the same way, and Jake brought this up in the chat. Now, Polynesian, and I could be wrong about this other one. So, Jake, if you know, let me know. But I believe it's another ancient European culture. It would have been like Portugal, Spain, maybe Greece. Point is, the Polynesian, the ancient Polynesian language, and this other language, I have to fact check. I can't believe I didn't fucking save this. Have over 1,000 shared words that do mean the exact same thing. These are cultures that never should have known about each other's existence. How do they have over 1,000 words that are the exact same? It's really bothering me. I can't remember the other fucking language. So, Jake,
I'm just saying to say that there's no chance of that is
but doesn't the Chinese and Mandarin have similarities?
But they were close to each other. They would have actually interacted. We're talking about cultures that were thousands of miles apart.
Oceans
supposedly never. Yes, Polynesian and Central and South American cultures. That's why I was thinking Spain.
Yes.
Actually, South American instead. Yes,
Polynesian
and cultures like the Mayan and whatnot. Yeah, and they try and claim, like, again, how would you have these ancient South American cultures and people in fucking Southeast Asia? That's different than the Chinese and the Mandarin, because they were close to one another. You know what I mean, Cindy?
Yeah. Okay.
So you're telling me you have over 1,000 shared words? That seems to me like your language probably came from an original common source.
Yeah, but I'm just saying. So, like, if they had like these 3 lines and like they're all water bearing, they all it was like, to say that at one point in time that all didn't mean one word is almost irresponsible, because they're all talking about something seafaring. And then when you're talking,
it wouldn't necessarily be seafaring if at the time Mew existed. You have a whole other continent with people spread across it. It would actually be landfaring. They would just be traveling across the land because all these masses connect.
So the theory is, especially with these, what do you call them? When they're like these Aboriginal tribes that we're seeing, where you're seeing like a lot of these correlations, they're not direct descendants of the people of Mu. They're kind of like refugees.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're what remains. So you're getting fragmented. You're not getting English. You're getting like a Cockney accent, right? Where some of it's there, but some of it has turned into their own culture, which makes sense. You know, if there was a huge cataclysm and you had people trying to escape and they end up somewhere, not everybody remembers everything the same way. Not everybody.
And also, it's not only about remembering it the same way. It's going to slightly change, like a game of telephone, as the generations go on.
Absolutely.
So, are you following so far, Cindy? Got questions, comments,
I'm lost.
sarcastic remarks?
Nope, no idea.
Okay, so ancient civilization, cataclysm happens, refugees spread out all across the globe, and all of a sudden, all these ancient civilizations that should have never known each other all have shared commonalities. For example, the Mayans, the Mayans, the Egyptians, and the Sumerians all were supposedly taught how to restart civilization by a water and or fish god immediately after the Great Flood. That's a really weird common thing for the Egyptians, the Mayans, and the Sumerians to all have in common.
That's
like specifically a fish god or water god post Great Flood taught the humans how to restart civilization.
Oh, it says right here, Churchwood claims that the king of Mu was named Ra.
Oh yeah, the sun god Ra is brought up on both I think it's Polynesia and ancient Egypt. That's another one. I completely forgot about that connection. Yes. Ra is you can trace Ra back far further than Egypt, and other cultures use it it's spelled slightly different, but it's pronounced the exact same.
Yeah, it's basically
like ROAH instead of RA, but you know, like
or RAA or you know what I mean? Like
right.
But it's all said the same way.
Was there really 2 great floods?
There was multiple great floods.
Yeah.
And that's so these impact events or these cataclysms that cause these sorts of floods, they actually, now I say they're fairly common in the grand scheme of the earth being millions of years old. Yes. These sorts of things are going to happen every few 100,000 years. And great floods, when we talk about destroying a civilization, it's not like in the movie The Day After Tomorrow where there's like busted up skyscrapers and stuff.
Where they're running away from climate change.
Right. let me explain. I was going to save this for near the end, but I'll just go ahead and explain it now. And then we'll come back to this article. When a cataclysmic event happens, and I actually wrote this down, but I'm going to go from memory. Now let's use an asteroid impact as an example. You got 2 places it can hit. What are the 2 places that an asteroid can hit?
On land or in sea?
Bingo, bango, bongo. Land or sea. If it hits land, it will set off a chain reaction. Basically, every single tectonic plate across the globe will start reverberating, will start rubbing, will start causing these massive earthquakes. What do these earthquakes do? These earthquakes activate volcanoes, sending thousands upon thousands, who knows how much plume and soot and whatnot into the sky, blocking out the sun, killing the plants. But frankly, that's killing the plants doesn't really matter. All the animals are already dead because this also generates this thing called the wind blast. Do you know what the wind blast is?
I do not.
The wind blast is when this reverberation happening on Earth due to a mass impact event happens. It kicks up wind worldwide to about 1,000 miles an hour. That is a fucking planetary food processor. The only thing that could survive that effectively is stone and maybe glass. Like it is, because glass takes, but glass would shatter. So the glass wouldn't decompose, the glass would shatter. The wind blast, it would strip away even our strongest skyscrapers like it was fucking paper. Don't get me started on what it would do to the human body. The only thing that it can't really tear away is stone. Well, the thing is, stone doesn't really matter because fucking earthquakes. That's why you've got structures like Göbekli Tepe and whatnot that are being discovered. These are just one of the rare stone structures that didn't like, and mind you, they did get lost to time for a long time. They got buried beneath, all the hills, all the recurring foliage. Yeah, Krakatoa, bingo, bango, bongo. The heat wave of an airburst we were referring to. Thank you, Nerdivergent. I appreciate that. Because I'm probably explaining this poorly. But the fact of the matter is, stone melts. That's funny. Fact of the matter is, the reason the earthquake hitting or the asteroid hitting the land is such a big deal, it causes that to happen. Now, let's say that it hits the ocean, right? It's the sea. Not only do you get everything that I just explained, but you also get tsunamis that are over a mile tall. A mile. A wall of water that literally reaches into the clouds.
Jeez.
Now, after that tidal wave, which is going to go out in all directions because, it's going to hit the water and whatnot. So that's going to wipe away fucking everything. But you get aftershock tsunamis as well. Now, these aren't no fucking mile high, but they're still probably several hundreds to thousands of fucking feet high. It takes about a full fucking day for the earth to finally stop reverberating and shaking and for these tidal waves to go away. So if you've got 24 hours of the earth just being a fucking death machine, this goes back to what Krovax was saying earlier about the water displacement. What do you think happens to the earth after all that water has covered it over and over?
It cools.
Well, yes, but before that, I mean, like immediately.
Oh, everything dies.
Everything dies, but everything is buried because the earth has been all upheavaled and shifted so much it all becomes mud. So you've got scientists estimate that whenever an event like this occurs, if there are any civilizations, they would be buried under, on average, roughly 1,000 feet of mud. Now, how often do we hear about scientists fucking digging 1,000 feet down to find lost civilizations?
I mean, not all the time, but quite,
No, they very rarely go that far down, actually. Like, this
do they have the capability to go that far down?
We have the capability, but it's not easy and it's certainly not cheap. And in some areas, we may or may not have the capability. It depends on like how it depends on like the lay of the land and the structures, I would assume. But the point is, that's why we rarely. So even if we had like remnants of the fucking Empire State Building or something, or the Statue of Liberty, if it's buried 1,000 feet down, what are the odds of that being found? So it may as well be as if the earth was just wiped fucking clean. So whether it was an impact, an asteroid impact or whatnot, or a volcanic eruption, no one really knows what the cataclysm was that caused the vast flooding post Younger Dryas.
Yeah,
but something clearly happened.
It's why you don't find a lot of like dinosaur fossils out by me, right?
Right.
The Great Lakes were carved by glaciers. They also pushed a lot of those down. They pushed a lot of those fossils down when everything froze over. That's just the natural way. That's why when all these climate change psychos talk, and it was like, oh, climate's going to change. It was like, actually, we're like a good couple hundred years overdue for a climate change. Like the earth does it on its own.
And Nerversion is right. Within 5,000, to be fair, it's estimated 5,000 to 10,000 max. But yes, years, all metals and man-made structures would decay and decompose. That's also true, or at least that's what the scientists say. So if we're talking about civilizations from, let's say, 20,000 years ago, there'd be nothing left. It would have all decomposed by now anyway. So you can't say for certain that there were not ancient and possibly even advanced civilizations out there prior to us, prior to the Younger Dryas, prior to these impact events that we know for a fact did happen. So we got this right here. Did scientists find a lost continent beneath the Indian Ocean? So this is about Mauritius. Analyzing beach sand from Mauritius, scientists discovered minerals between 660 million and 1,970 million years old, suggesting an ancient lost continent beneath the Indian Ocean. Oh, what's that? So they can sink? The remains of microcontinent scientists called Mauritius might be preserved under huge amounts of ancient lava beneath the Indian Ocean. A new analysis of island sands in the area suggests the findings. Get the fuck out of here, news briefs. The findings of such microcontinents may have occurred more frequently than previously thought. The scientists who conducted the study, detailed online February 24th in the journal Nature Geoscience, say researchers analyzed sands from the Isle of Mauritius and the Western Indian Ocean. Mauritius is part of a volcanic chain that strangely exists far from the edges of the tectonic plate. In contrast, most volcanoes are found at the borders of tectonic plates that make up the surface of the Earth. Investigators suggest the volcanic chains in the middle of tectonic plates, such as the Hawaiian Islands, are caused by giant pillars of hot molten rock known as mantle plumes. These rise up from near the Earth's core, penetrating overlying material like blowtorch. Mantle plumes can apparently trigger continental breakups. Interesting, softening the tectonic plates that form below until they fragment. This is how the lost continent of eastern Gondwana ended about 170 million years ago. So you mean a lost continent that they acknowledge was real? At this point, what does it matter if we call it Mu or we call it Lumeria, which other stories call it? We could make up a fucking name and call it Galgamith. It's still a lost fucking continent that very possibly had a civilization there.
Well, I think Lumeria was the second one because I think they were posing that Lumeria existed around the same. There's theories that.
Oh, so Lumeria would be a different one.
Yeah, so it existed around the same time. I actually found. Let's see if I can find it. I found earlier today, like it was a pretty sweet like proposed map. That had like Atlantis. Lemuria and Mu on it, but I don't know if I have it up anymore. But it was really cool. It's so funny how they can talk out of both sides of their mouth, saying, "Oh, did we discover this, lost continent?" And we're like, "No, that there's no way that can happen." Well, it's got to be one or the other. You can't.
What is Lumeria? Like Cowboy Diesel was asking, but I'm also kind of curious.
It's just
Sammy, correct me if I'm wrong, because you do have the info up already.
Yeah, Lumeria is it existed in the Caribbean Ocean. The Caribbean Ocean, and it's associated with Atlantis. The mysterious lost lands of Lemuria and Mu were conceived during the 19th century. So what Mu was in the Pacific, Lemuria was in the Atlantic.
Yeah, so it's another lost continent and with another advanced civilization. Basically another theory that's almost identical to this one, but on the opposite side of the planet, Senny.
Yeah, and they also kind of came around at similar times,
which would also make sense because we've got multiple civilizations that all pop up around the same time in the modern human era. Modern, as in Egypt, China, the South American, things like that. Why wouldn't it have been the same pre-Younger Dryas? And yeah, Atlantis. So Atlantis was part of Lemurian lore, not Mu lore. Is that correct? Because people are saying but either way, Cowboy Diesel, yes, very similar to Atlantis. Correct. So the point is, they found a lost continent already, Mauritius. Mauritius could be tied to the land of Mu. It could be part of the sunken ruins of Mu. 3 billion year old crystals hint at lost continent's fate. Volcanoes, shifting plates cause Mauritius to crumble. I mean, scientists are taking Mauritius seriously. Why not the lost land? I feel like the only reason they don't take Mu seriously is because there's stories surrounding it of people with advanced technology. Yeah, and technology is lost all the fucking time. NASA's trying to tell us that they lost the technology that took us to the fucking moon almost 80 years ago. You telling me that if you lost that, you lost the technology that took us to outer space, but there's no possibility of ancient advanced civilizations with lost technology? Cindy, I don't know if you're muted or if you're stunned into silence.
No, I was actually thinking about that previously. It's like we lost technology that we had in the world wars that really advanced us, but then it's like you're bringing stuff up like this, and you're just making me think about it.
Lemuria and Mew destroyed each other in a great war. That's another theory. Yeah, CFH90 is correct, and we didn't talk about that when talking about like the history of Mew. But yeah, there is some theories that Lemuria and Mew went to war with each other, nuclear weapons or some sort of equivalent for whatever their technology had that caused each other to sink. I personally, without evidence of that, I'd still stick with something along the lines of like an asteroid impact, something that we can't even stop today with our technology. So, but I mean, yeah, is that impossible? No, I don't think that's impossible at all. They could be warring continents that didn't, for whatever reason, understand the concept of mutually assured destruction.
Mm-hmm.
Then you've got Bimini Road. I saw some people in the chat mention this earlier. Y'all were jumping the fucking gun on me. Bimini Road. The following pictures are from a student site in Atlantis. A report there being an underwater road. Some columns taken from the book of Jacques Cousteau that cannot be confirmed. More of the history discovered of Bimini Road here. The rectangular stones all line up in the east to west direction, signifying that they are related to each other. Natural stones would be arbitrarily oriented, and the first three pictures are the same section. Click on the thumbnails for enlargements. The point is, so you've got this underwater road off the coast of where is it? One sec. Bimini Road, sometimes called the Bimini Wall. North Bimini Road consists the Bimini Chain of Islands. Where is that? Trying to remember.
I do not know.
Hold on. Do I have a picture of it up? I might. Yeah, the Bahamas. Yeah, Bimini Road, northwestern coast, North Bimini Island in the Bahamas. So you've got an an underwater lost road system off the coast of the Bahamas. Well, guess where the lost continent of Mew supposedly stretched to?
The Bahamas.
Bingo, bango, bongo. It just could be part. Again, we're trying to stone. If the continent sunk, what's one of the few things that we said earlier would survive? Stone. I mean, to me, I'm seeing a pretty clear-cut fucking case for the idea that there absolutely was a lost continent. Now, whether or not it had all these technological advancements and whatnot, look, I don't know. I can't say, but we know for damn sure that it's really, really strange that all these cultures basically popped up with the same flood myth, with the same religion, with the same basic knowledge of how to start civilization, all at the same time, all coming to relatively similar ideas of farming, of irrigation, all this stuff. Like, I don't know, Cindy, you're the one that seems brain broken. What's your takeaway after all of this?
It's a lot of information, and then you're mentioning like a lot of places, and I'm already terrible with names. I swear to all that is holy, if you tell me that no, this is in fact debunked and it's not real, like you did with the last one I was on, I'm gonna get upset.
But no, I was being honest when I said at the beginning that now there are aspects of this that are debunked, like the whole that dude in the 1930s, it was like, the stone tablets that I was restoring, like that's been debunked. That's not real. Right. He was basically just a con man. However, the actual idea of this lost continent and the idea of there being a lost advanced civilization, none of that's been debunked, despite the fact that scientists want to say it is. Huh. Oh, yeah, Edgar Cayce, by the way, the Soul Assassin. I totally forgot to mention Edgar Cayce. Edgar Cayce was one of the most successful, arguably the most successful psychic in the world. He predicted the, was it the founding of Bimini Road? Hold on, which one was it? Edgar Cayce predictions. I think it was Lost Continents. Let me check that. He made extensive predictions about the lost continent of Atlantis. Atlantis was highly advanced technological civilization, sank around 10,000 BC. He prophesied that the cataclysm of Earth changes would eventually cause the remnants of the continent to reemerge. Let's see. So I think, yeah, he was talking about Atlantis, not Mew, but yeah, basically what he predicted about the discovery of the remnants of Atlantis basically all turned out to be true. We did find these underwater structures. We did find these leftover remnants, things like that. Is that what it is? The Ricat structure or the Richat structure? But point is, we had a fucking American psychic in the like 1920s predict this shit, and it got found in like the 80s or whatever.
Oh wow.
I completely forgot about the Edgar Casey stuff because I actually want to do an entire episode on Edgar Casey, so I try to avoid stuff that ties to him until we do it. But yeah, that was great call because I did want to mention that one. So thank you for reminding me about Edgar Casey.
I'm reading in this one that there's some evidence that Mew is actually a misinterpretation of the stories of Lemuria. So I mean, so there's different ones. It's kind of all over the place, but I mean, no matter what or where you're looking at, you keep getting similar stories. I mean, they vary, but it was there and then it wasn't there. And so it kind of has ties to everything. So I think out of some of the stuff that we've covered on this channel, this is actually a little less far-fetched than
pull that up by Jake again, actually, but consider your thoughts, Sammy.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just saying. I was like, I believe this more than I believe a couple of theories. Yeah, it was like there's no reason that this couldn't be true.
Yeah, I completely agree. And Jake says people thought the city of Troy was a total myth for most of classical history up until the late 19th century. This is also true. Like they thought that the Iliad was just a work of fiction. No, I mean, it's heavily fictionalized and it's probably over exaggerated, over embellished. They've got help from the gods, Achilles being fucking invincible, shit like that. Like,
Elliot
okay, yeah,
Page.
that's. However, we now know Troy was real.
Mhm.
That's just as a perfect example of something that we thought was myth turned out to be real. Now it's heavily mythologized. And I've got no doubts that the stories of Mew were probably mythologized to the survivors that spread out into the world. If we assume this is true,
we said this before. Until the early 1900s, we thought platypus were cryptids.
Yeah, that's true.
That's crazy, especially since they're biofluorescent now.
Yeah. Well, I just feel bad for all those like Australian guys like going into the pub and was like, saw a rabbit with a duck bill. And they're like, yeah, dude, you're drinking too much. It's like, no, that's the thing. It's all furry, but it lays eggs.
So this is Clark's third law, and I'm sorry if I butcher this, but basically it states that any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. So, like, to these underdeveloped cultures, if they did have, they've got all these stories like, oh, this magical stuff happened. Oh, so-and-so rose from the sea. Oh, so-and-so brought upon, heaps of light and electricity, and lightning. And they're basically describing what sounds like magic. But to these under-informed, developed cultures, could just be fucking real advanced technology.
Also, when you look at advanced technology, when something goes catastrophically wrong with it, there's less evidence. Like,
that's true too.
If like a coal facility blows up, it's much different than like if a nuclear facility melted down.
Yeah. Dominical was correct. Go far enough back in time, a big lighter would make you a god.
Yep. Although the lighter predates matches by hundreds of years.
Does it really?
Yeah. Well, think about it. The design, it's much easier just to stick a wick into a fuel source and have that go up than you would have to get the chemical combination to have something strike the tip of something and having it ignite.
I guess I've just never really thought about it. But yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I think the lighter goes all the way back to like Babylonian.
Wow, that's impressive. I did not know that. But anyway, Cindy, so like to answer your question about this being, quote unquote debunked, some of the more mythological aspects, some of the stuff that like dude was saying, like sell his books and whatnot. Yeah, that is. But the actual concept of an ancient civilization that could have existed 50,000 years ago, I see no reason at all to believe that is impossible.
Okay, it's just a lot of names and a lot to take in. So
Well, that's what makes it so believable to me, because you're right. It is a lot of names: the Sumerians, the Egyptians, the Chinese, the fucking the South American what are they called? The Mayans and whatnot. We're talking the people like the Easter Island. They want us to believe the scientists' current prevailing theory. You know what Easter Island is, I assume.
Mhm.
Little tiny fucking minuscule island in the middle of fucking nowhere ocean. They want us to believe that the Polynesians traveled 1,000 miles to that little tiny island in fucking canoes.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry, no.
That doesn't track. Also, before I get beat up here in the chat, I understand that like the lighter itself is only like 200 years old. I'm talking about like archetypes, you know, like what led into be the modern lighter. I'm not saying the modern lighter. Similar devices have been around.
Kind of like that ancient computer they found. That ancient computer they found in the shipwreck and whatnot. Like, yes,
the Babylon battery.
Yeah. But anyway, like, yeah, it is a lot to keep track of. You're right, Cindy. But that's what makes it to me more believable is how do all these cultures from all over the world have almost all the exact same myths, legends, starting points, shared iconography, all of that, if it didn't have an origin point. And if that origin point was this giant continent that connected these locations and was close to them, or at least much closer to them because there was, less ocean for people to cross and whatnot, that they could have traveled to after a cataclysm. Like, to me, that makes sense. The Earth, we got a lot of water. We got a lot of space for other fucking continents that aren't here anymore after bad shit happens.
Yeah, that's true.
But I told you it was going to be a banger episode tonight, didn't I?
Yeah. Well, we didn't say. Do we save the best for last? Cindy?
Yeah.
You went on Ancestry.com. You are the queen of Mew.
Fuck yeah! I got Bull out and Mew.
You're gonna have to rethink how you do things. And I know it's a lot to take in, but that's why we were trying to educate you so well, because you are the leader of nations, my dear.
Hell yeah.
Well, hopefully I provide you guys enough sources and whatnot. Oh, by the way, here's how much of a Chad your boy is. Now, I did the same thing for this that I do every episode when doing these deep dive topics. After I get all my sources and after I try and present either a case for or against whatever the conspiracy is, because there's times that we do the debunk, and I like doing the debunk, mind you, because I think it makes times like this where we don't know, but frankly, I do believe in it, then that much more special. So I then go and I argue the case against ChatGPT, because ChatGPT, I mean, we're talking big government, big tech. It's always going to take the side of big archaeology, things like that. So of course, when I typed into ChatGPT, the ancient continent of Mew, immediately it was like, oh yeah, this has been debunked. There's absolutely no way. Like this is just some kooky conspiracy theory. It's great for tinfoil haters. Go for it. I'll even help you build the episode, but it's not real. I was like, hold on. Well, let's argue this out. And by the end of my conversation with ChatGPT was like, fuck, you might be right. Just saying. I convinced the AI that Mew existed.
Oh, wow. That's a hell of a feat.
Yeah. And that was
now you're on a government list.
And now I'm on to be fair, I do this with just about every episode that's not the ghost reaction, so I've probably been on a government list for a very long time.
Yeah.
But alrighty, crew. We've been going over about an hour and a half. We had the legends, we had the science. I hope I pulled up enough sources, because if not, I mean, we could keep going. Oh my god, I forgot about the lemurs. I forgot about the lemurs. Here's another crazy thing.
Oh yeah.
Lemurs, fossils of lemurs have been discovered all over the world in different parts of different continents. They were discovered in South America, they've been discovered in Africa, and they've been discovered on Madagascar. Do you want to know why that doesn't make any sense?
Some of them aren't close to each other?
None of those are close to each other.
Yeah.
One is South America, one is Africa, and I think the other is also Africa, but like much further away in Africa.
Right.
Just like any animal, they only survive in certain climates.
Yeah, you do. So whenever you've got a species of an animal you don't see that same exact breed in other parts of the world. They're always are adapted to like the part of the world they're in. It's like the monkey. For example, African elephants are notably different than Asian elephants, right?
Right,
Mhm.
right.
These lemurs are fossils of lemurs are all the exact same species spanning oceans. Lemurs don't swim.
Huh.
Why would we find fossils of the exact same species of lemur? We're talking fossils. Do you realize how long it takes things to fossilize? Thousands upon thousands of years. So way before humans would have been seafaring. So it's not like these grass and lemurs brought it with them. Nope, lemurs died, turned into fossils. Why did we find fossils of lemurs across major thousands of miles of differences in oceans of the world? That's not how evolution works. Yeah, exactly, Rick. Not a lot of zebras in England.
No.
Huh.
So this is another case, at least in my opinion, for the continent of Mew, because lemurs would have actually started on this supercontinent. And then, as time went on, the cataclysms happened, whatnot, like we actually have a sufficiently advanced civilization. They might have had lemurs as pets, or maybe lemurs was part of the local flora, fauna, whatnot. And then when the big event happened, well, lemurs also die as well. It's unfortunate, but hey, at least most of them survive and they're still around to this day.
Right.
I mean, I think that was one of the big
Catalysts for the whole Mew discovery, right?
Yeah, well,
Not
I
discovery,
was gonna go Lemuria, lemur.
Yeah, Lumeria may have been the lemur. I mean, either way,
Well,
yeah.
Okay, because I'm looking up now. So it was proposed in 1864 by a zoologist.
No, not just any zoologist. What's his name? Because we still use his system today for organizing genuses.
Philip Scatler.
Yeah,
Scatler.
we still use Philip Scatler's system today. Zoologists do when identifying different like genuses or species or whatnot. So
Yeah,
it's not
but
like this is some crazy kook zoologist.
No. I'm not saying that at all.
No, I'm just saying from the chat's perspective. It's like the guy that found the 3 different lemur fossils on 3 different continents. We still use his categorization system for animals to this day. He was like king zoologist.
Yeah, no, so I'm saying that's where his theory of Lemuria came from. And like I said, there's a lot of overlap for both of these.
Yeah, but back to my point earlier, whether we call it Lemuria, whether we call it Mew, whether we make up a name and call it what I want to call it, Galgamith, the point is there's a fucking lost civilization. There's a fucking lost continent in the middle of what was the goddamn Pacific Ocean or Atlantic Ocean, whichever. I don't fucking remember at this point. But you get my point.
Could be in both. There's actually better evidence that points to it with this when you find these similarities through all these different civilizations than to say we all just kind of came up with it on our own. I mean, okay, there's other things there where you're gonna just out of human necessity, like we talked about, the farming. That all just happens naturally when you get there. It was like there's certain ideas that they pray to and everything where that's just you just don't come up with that by yourself. Like someone coached that, someone told them, it's very strange that you would have so much overlap between that much ocean. It's wild.
But that being said, I think that about wraps it up. Yeah, dude, I think did the kick stream crash, Cindy?
I don't.
Oh no, they're saying no, we're good.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think so.
That's weird. Yeah, it's saying that something went wrong. You can't find the page you're looking for when trying to look at my own stream. Anyway, let's pack it in. Cindy, your return has been so welcomed. We missed you last week, and I missed you yesterday. But we ended up turning out all right. Frankly, I'm kind of glad you weren't there yesterday because I don't want to do a Skybrowse reaction with you because you need to be able to use it for your own channel. So it worked out. That being said, tell the people who you are, what you do, what you got coming up, the whole 9. And before you do any of that, tell us, do you believe there's a lost continent and or civilization beneath the ocean now?
I do believe it, especially with like I mean, like you caught like a lot of good points with like the language, and then the lemur thing I think was really interesting. I didn't see that happening. I thought people in chat were joking when they kept mentioning lemurs.
No, I
No.
just forgot to bring it up till near the fucking end.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that was interesting. I really liked it. But yeah, guys, I will be streaming on my own channel a little later tonight at 11 o'clock. I'm gonna start earlier than normal to kind of make up for not streaming yesterday. Hopefully, the weather holds out. Because it looks like it's trying to give me grief. But other than that, yeah, I'm happy to be back. I missed y'all, and yeah, that's it for me.
Sammy, same with you. What were your thoughts on all this? And then after that, tell the people who you are, what you do, the whole nine.
I don't know about the entire continent, but I definitely believe in the ancient civilization. Whether that continent is in the Atlantic Ocean or the Pacific Ocean, do I think that there was a landmass where much more advanced civilization kind of branched out and we started like sharing their knowledge? Absolutely. As a matter of fact, like I said, I think it makes more sense than it doesn't make sense. The logistics, I mean, I'm willing to hear arguments on both sides, but other than that, it's just my regular schedule. You know, if I've earned your viewership, please go to my channel, hit like, and you know, if you're still three-peat curious, maybe follow me on Twitter.
You love to see it. As for me, first of all, thank you all so much for showing up. I truly appreciate it. Videos and streams nearly every day. I think trying to debate what clip from yesterday's stream I want to put up tomorrow. But if you haven't checked out the Sky Browser video for SkyOps, I have that video posted. Please watch that. It came out today. It was great. Mad W Sky Browse. It is his fault that I didn't get to do the wheel spin, which we'll do tomorrow. The reason I say tomorrow instead of today is because Tim Bullet Haters is usually a bit lighter on viewers than my Wednesday streams, and so I want to make sure that everybody gets a chance to come in and have their voice heard. So we will do it. I promise we will do it tomorrow. I will not forget. We'll even do it like halfway through the show instead of near the end. The point is, videos and streams nearly every day. Thank you so much for the donos. That is what allows me to maintain having the coolest fucking job in the world. It is literally all because of you guys. You are amazing. We're going to raid into my girl, Sevi. She is playing Lego Batman. I wonder if the performance is as bad as I actually think it's going to be because Unreal Engine 5 is dog shit. So make sure you say Vital Idol Raid over on Sevi's stream. And I think she is also live on Kick. And I don't think anybody else that I usually stream to is live on Kick. Let me make sure. Yup, it is her. So she'll be getting the raid on both YouTube and Kick. Thank you again so much. And until next time, it is all here in the Nerdosphere. This has been Words of Paradise.